Good afternoon, everyone. It's September 20th, and the current time is 12:43 p.m. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about the application in file number EA-2024-0237, which is captioned as "In the matter of the application of Union Electric Company doing business as Ameren, Missouri for permission and approval and certificates of public convenience and necessity, authorizing it to construct a simple cycle natural gas generation facility." The Missouri Public Service Commission regulates investor-owned utility companies in Missouri and ensures that their rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and the safety of the operations of investor-owned utilities. The Commission is made up of 5 commissioners, Chair Kayla Hahn, as well as Commissioners Maida Coleman, Jason Holzman, Glenn Kolkmeyer, and John Mitchell. The commissioners are appointed by the governor to fixed terms and confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. With me today are all 5 commissioners, and again, those are Chair Hahn, Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Holzman, Commissioner Kolkmeyer, and Commissioner Mitchell. And commissioners, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to interrupt me and ask them. My name is Riley Fuel, and I'm the regulatory law judge presiding over this hearing. This is an official hearing of the Missouri Public Service Commission, and the statements and testimony of witnesses will be recorded by their court reporter and must be given under oath or affirmation. The commission has not made any decisions in this case, and neither the commissioners nor myself can answer the questions about the issues of the case today because the commission must remain impartial until after all of the evidence is presented at the evidentiary hearing in this matter scheduled to take place next month. As we want to provide all attendees an appropriate opportunity to speak today, we will limit the time for testimony to only 5 minutes. I would ask that everyone remain muted unless you are directed to speak so that everyone can be heard and understood for the court reporter. The court reporter is transcribing this hearing so the commission may review and read the comments. Commissioners, would you like to make any opening remarks? Hearing none.
Judge, I'll make some remarks on behalf of the entire commission. We just want to thank everybody for taking their time to share their thoughts on this important matter. We have not made any decisions, but we will take their opinions into advisement and thank them for their time today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now we can have the parties enter their appearances, starting with Ameren, Missouri.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jim Lowry, appearing on behalf of Ameren, Missouri. My contact information is part of the case file.
Okay. Commission staff.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Vandergriff, representing the commission staff. Our address is the Governor Office Building, Suite 800, 200 Madison Street, Jefferson City, 65102.
Thank you. The Office of Public Counsel.
Nathan Williams, Chief Deputy Public Counsel, P.O. Box 2230, Jefferson City, Missouri 65102.
Are there any interveners present who would like to make an entry of appearance? Hearing none. For those who would like to provide comments today, I'm going to call the names listed as they appeared in the chat. When I call your name, please unmute yourself. I will then place you under oath and ask you to state and spell your name, and then you can offer your comments to the commission. As I previously stated, we are limiting comments to 5 minutes today so that everyone present has an adequate chance to be heard. Also, please remain available after your remarks until you've been excused because the commission may have some questions to ask you. If the attorneys have any questions, they can let me know at that time as well. Would Dana Gray unmute herself? And if you could raise your right hand.
So this first one, roll a little right.
There you are.
Not on.
You can hear you. All right.
But it is still in our collection.
Can you please state and spell your name?
Yes, Dana Gray, Danagray.
Thank you. And can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you like to, what would you like to tell the commission?
As a resident of Missouri, I am concerned about the creation of a new power center that would be burning natural gas. My understanding is that this is made mostly burning natural gas. It's made mostly of methane, and methane emissions trap over 82.5 times more heat than carbon dioxide emissions, and that would pose a health risk for Missourians. And I would like for our electric utility to find cleaner ways to generate energy.
Do you have anything else you wanted to bring to the commission?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Janes. Apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
No, you actually got it right, which is very unusual. Good job.
Wasn't sure if there'd be a stress bell or not. Can you please raise your right hand for me?
Nope, that's my right.
Do you solemnly swear that the comments you're about to make are the truth?
I do.
And can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Jennifer Janes, Jennifer. Last name Jaynes.
Thank you. What would you like to tell the commission?
I'm a Missouri homeowner and an Ameren customer, and I'm here to urge the Public Service Commission to vote no on the proposed Castle Bluff Energy Center. I receive regular mailers asking me to voluntarily pay a higher electricity rate to help fund renewable electricity generation projects for Ameren. Ameren is a for-profit company that pays its executives handsomely and will use any new generation facilities for profit, yet they ask ratepayers to fund the building of renewable energy facilities while also seeking approval for this fossil fuel plant. The Castle Bluff proposed facility relies on methane gas, a fossil fuel. Ameren alleges that the center will be reliable, but methane is a volatile compound that needs to be piped to the center, unlike wind or solar generation. Methane gas costs are extremely variable, and it is a finite resource, unlike wind or solar. These reasons make methane gas a poor backup energy generation method. Utility-scale solar and wind power are among the cheapest and most reliable energy sources on the market today. Ameren speaks about their commitment to clean energy, but methane gas is not a clean energy source. As mentioned, when burned, methane gas releases methane into the atmosphere, which traps over 82 times more heat in our atmosphere than carbon dioxide. Solar and wind power generation do not produce greenhouse gas emissions. Ameren has theoretically committed to reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2045. With cheaper, more reliable, and cleaner energy sources available, the proposed Castle Bluff Energy Center is not the right facility to build. I respectfully urge the PSC to vote no on this proposal. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your comment. Elise Schaefer.
Hello.
Hello. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Elise, Elyse, Schaefer, Schaeffer.
What would you like to tell the commission?
Good afternoon. My name is Elise Schaefer, and I am here testifying on behalf of Missouri Coalition for the Environment. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy organization that seeks to empower Missourians to protect their environment and their health. Ameren's proposed Castle Bluff Energy Center will be detrimental to the environment and to the health of all Missourians. Additionally, the proposal is a reckless use of ratepayer dollars when there are renewable alternatives that are more cost-effective and more forward-thinking. For these reasons, I urge the Public Service Commission to vote no on this proposal. Ameren's planned center relies on methane gas, or as the company refers to it, natural gas. Methane gas is a fossil fuel composed mostly of methane and some smaller amounts of carbon dioxide and water vapor. The plan also includes carbon capture sequestration, or CCS, which is an expensive and completely unproven technology required by the EPA for all new methane gas facilities. Ameren says the center will be, quote, reliable as a source of energy that positions the company as, quote, leading the transition to a resilient, clean energy future, end quote. In reality, it does neither. Methane gas is an extremely volatile commodity that must be piped to the center rather than being produced on site. Between June of 2020 and August of 2022, for example, costs of methane gas spiked by nearly 20%. What's more, Ameren claims to create, quote, permanent jobs with this proposal. Methane gas is a limited resource. Jobs created by this plant will not be permanent. Utility-scale solar and wind power, including utility-scale battery storage, however, are renewable, reliable resources that would actually create permanent jobs. Solar and wind power are also among the cheapest and most reliable energy sources on the market today. Moreover, solar power has shown a reliable decrease in costs for utilities and for ratepayers. Further, methane gas is not a clean energy source. When burned, methane gas releases carbon dioxide and primarily methane into the atmosphere. Methane traps over 82.5 times more heat than carbon dioxide. Solar and wind, on the other hand, do not produce any greenhouse gas emissions. The Castle Bluff Energy Center stands to exacerbate the ongoing public health and racial justice inequalities of global warming. Heat kills more Americans every year than any other natural disaster. We continue to see more extreme heat, heat waves, drought, tornadoes, and flooding in St. Louis. 2024 is expected to be the hottest year on record, beating the last record-breaking year, 2023. The adverse effects of our changing climate are not experienced the same by everyone. Damage to health, property, and livelihood can be doubled by the extant racial and economic inequalities in our community. Finally, Ameren's proposition includes required measures for carbon capture sequestration, or CCS. Despite over 50 years of research and development, this technology has never been proven effective at significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Renewable energy sources not only avoid creating greenhouse gas emissions in the first place, but also avoid this added cost extracted at the ratepayer's expense. Ameren should be forward-thinking and invest in renewable energy infrastructure that will be effective in both cost and producing reliable energy. Ameren has theoretically committed to reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2045. With cheaper, more reliable, cleaner energy sources available, the proposed Castle Bluff Energy Center is not a sound step toward this goal. If this plan is approved, Missourians will be asked to pay $800 million to exacerbate the climate crisis. Instead of investing in methane gas, Ameren should be investing ratepayers' dollars into renewable energy sources. As such, I respectfully urge the PSC to vote no on this proposal. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I wasn't sure if Mr. Coleman had a question or not. I saw her pop up a couple times. Thank you for your comment. Laura Turner.
Hello.
Hello. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're going to give today are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Can you please state and spell your name for the court report?
Laura Turner, Laura Turner.
What would you like to tell the commission?
Thank you for taking the time to hold this meeting. I'm the Director of Advocacy for Missouri with the American Lung Association. I want to focus my efforts on the effects of greenhouse gases and other emissions on human health, and why it is imperative we must move forward with actions to reduce the combustion of fossil fuels for energy, such as the methane natural gas that will power the Castle Bluff Energy Center. As the oldest voluntary public health organization in the United States, one of the American Lung Association's 4 strategic imperatives is to champion clean air for all. The American Lung Association supports the phase out of fossil fuel combustion due to the myriad health and climate impacts posed by combustion. Extraction, transportation, and combustion of methane releases harmful pollution that will contribute to climate change and directly harm health. Simply put, climate change is a health emergency. Air quality is significantly impacted by the effects of climate change in the form of extreme heat, drought, extreme weather patterns like tornadoes, which we see here, and wildfires, which amplify our public health burdens. Poor air quality contributes to a wide range of negative health impacts, including childhood asthma attacks, impaired lung function and development, lung cancer, heart attacks and strokes, and premature deaths. Methane, which we're referring to here as natural gas, is a highly potent greenhouse gas, over 80 times more warming than carbon. Extracting and processing methane leads to emissions and leaks of other dangerous pollution at the same time. Volatile organic compounds, VOCs, are released alongside methane and carry immediate health harms. Some are known carcinogens. In addition to being toxic, VOCs contribute to the formation of ground level ozone. Getting exposed to ground level ozone, also known as smog, can cause irreversible damage to the lungs and significantly increase the chance of premature death. It impacts asthma attacks and aggravates other chronic lung diseases and pre-existing heart problems. Ozone is also linked to premature birth, which with low birth weight is a leading cause of infant death, and we are already rating high in those in Missouri. Burning methane gas in a power plant leads to harmful additional emissions, including greenhouse gases and nitrogen oxides, which are dangerous on their own and can also react to form ozone pollution. The American Lung Association's 25th Annual State of the Air Report revealed St. Louis received failing grades for air quality. And this is concerning because the St. Louis area has one of the highest in the country for asthma-related deaths. Breathing air pollution can cause asthma attacks, respiratory and cardiovascular harm, including heart attack and stroke, and even early death. The American Lung Association supports the transition from fossil fuel-based electricity production to clean, renewable, non-combustion technology like wind and solar to secure a healthier and more resilient future for Missouri. The American Lung Association does not support the development of new natural gas infrastructure that interferes with the development of non-combustion resources. Our organization supports the protection of all people from the harm of air pollution, especially those who suffer disproportionate exposure from local sources of emissions. We recognize that major sources of air pollution are often located near where large numbers of people, especially communities of color or lower income, live and work, which means their exposure to air toxics emitted can be more immediate and disproportionately harmful. Communities living closest to oil and gas sites are disproportionately harmed by the impacts of oil and gas have on air quality and climate change. And these communities are often lower income and or communities of color that have long experienced disadvantages such as systemic racism. So the impacts of gas pollution often make existing inequities and health conditions worse. No community should continue to bear the burden of air pollution levels that harm public health. Communities in St. Louis are already facing health harms from both unhealthy levels of air pollution and from the changing climate. And transitioning away from burning fossil fuels for electricity and toward a clean energy future is crucial for health. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ava Kappas. She's still. Ms. Kappas, you're still muted.
Hi, sorry, I was having some connectivity problems.
You're okay. Can you please raise your right hand? If you don't have video, just let me know if it's raised.
Yeah.
Okay, I trust you.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now.
It's raised.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Oh, Eva Kappas, EVA, then Kappas, KAPPAS.
Thank you. What would you like to tell the commission?
Okay. Yeah, so here's my comment. Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Eva Kappas. I'm 20 years old. I have lived in Missouri my whole life, as has my family for over 4 generations. Is my sound okay? Just want to check. Okay, thank you. Growing up, I saw rivers flood, fish die off, crops wither due to rising carbon dioxide pollution. All the while, Ameren has raked in profits from building new natural gas plants instead of investing in proven solutions, which I will describe in a second, to satisfy energy demand, lower rates, and protect the health of Missourians, all of which fall under the mandate of the Public Service Commission. The PSC wants to ensure energy reliability at the lowest cost. The cheapest and most reliable energy is energy we don't use. Instead of undertaking a massive new capital investment wrapped up on the backs of ratepayers, Ameren should expand their existing demand response and net metering programs to frictionlessly lower energy demand. I also want to direct attention to the carbon capture and sequestration part of the Castle Bluff project. CCS projects have historically surpassed their budget and diverted vast amounts of time and money from actually reducing prices and emissions. In 2021, nearly 500 environmental organizations sent an open letter to President Biden saying, despite the billions of taxpayer dollars spent, quote, despite the billions of taxpayer dollars spent by governments in both the United States and Canada on carbon capture and sequestration over the last 10 plus years, the technology has not made a dent in CO2 emissions. Chevron's Gorgon project provides a chilling example of the lack of accountability on CCS projects that cost millions only to fail. Located in Australia, Gorgon is a liquid natural gas facility that promised to capture and store an average of 24 metric tons or 80% of carbon dioxide emissions released during production. However, over 6 years later, the Gorgon project has only captured 5.5 metric tons while releasing an additional 20.4 metric tons of carbon. That's 20.4 million tons of carbon, metric tons of carbon released into the atmosphere that was supposed to be captured, but instead will go to intensify storms and increase temperatures. To compensate, Chevron was forced to buy carbon credits, costing even more money to citizens. The CCS plant is still only working at 1/3 capacity after over 3 years of delay. This is the future that awaits us if the Castle Bluff plan continues. I have 2 younger brothers who are 16 and 14. I have a grandmother in her 80s. I want my family to be able to live with affordable rates in a healthy environment. I want to be able to take my children to the river where we swim every 4th of July and to not find dead fish in the water, and to have the dock that my uncle built by hand not be destroyed again by a flood due to more intense storms. Ameren has preferred to bleed Missourians dry while poisoning their air and water and pocketing a profit. It does not have to be this way. I implore the Commission to vote no on this proposal. Missouri does not need or want this plant. Instead of exploiting ratepayers, Ameren can more actively recruit businesses to participate in their demand response program. Ameren can reduce barriers to net metering in households. And Ameren can drive economic development and empower families to prosper by lowering energy costs through these 2 solutions. Again, I would just like to say that the cheapest and most reliable energy is energy we don't have to use. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comments. Grace Iverson. You can unmute yourself.
Here, ready when you are.
Okay, thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Grace Iverson, GRACEIVERSON.
You may proceed with your comments.
Awesome. I'm here today as a St. Louis resident and as a ratepayer to urge the Public Service Commission to reject the Certificate of Convenience and Necessity and reject the Castle Bluff fossil gas project. Speaking as a resident, I see this project as an insult to the St. Louis community. We have dealt with the local and global environmental and health hazards, the climate impacts generated by Ameren from its coal and other fossil fuel plants. Warren from Ameren earlier in the question section mentioned, the extreme summer and winter weather that we're experiencing. And the reason that we're experiencing that is in part, Ameren's one of our top fossil fuel climate change contributors here locally. So to be proposing in this moment when we're in a climate emergency, when people have been dealing with these impacts from Ameren's fossil generation over years and years to propose a new fossil plant with this Castle Bluff project is frankly quite insulting when we have plenty of other options to reduce energy usage, as well as pursue renewables, energy storage. Ameren wants to claim that it's necessary for grid reliability. And we know that they have other options. They have more affordable options, better options for our community. Really, it is just convenient for them for generating profit. We've got lots of smart people who, I used to work in the energy industry. I know energy systems are complex. Ameren always wants to present it like this is the only option, but we have a lot of smart people. We have a lot of money to invest in alternatives. So, we kind of see through that front as community members. And we know this is a false narrative that fossil gas is claimed to be more environmentally friendly than coal. Ameren, I saw on revisiting their website about this project, they're showing a decrease in CO2 emissions, but neglected to mention the impacts of methane, which this is a methane gas plant. And we know that that is a very, very potent warming gas. There's also a lot of federal clean energy funding available for them to pursue these alternatives. So again, just really disappointing to see them not taking advantage of those opportunities in this case, and still proposing more fossil fuel generation. As to the claim about reliability, we've seen global markets, including markets disrupted by the Russia-Ukraine conflict, means that fossil gas supply can be turbulent. When we talk about any energy source, there are different aspects to that, but it's not that gas is more reliable than sun or wind that's always there. So that's, another false narrative. And fracked gas also isn't reliable when it poisons water, triggers earthquakes. So domestic and international markets don't make it a reliable fuel source. So we know how this works. Whatever Ameren builds, we as ratepayers foot the bill. Executives and shareholders profit. And if we're going to have to foot the bill for Ameren's profits, we should at least not have to pay for it doubly, triply, quadruply in the climate, environmental, and health impacts that we also have to face as a community as a result of their actions. So I'm urging the PSC, we are in a climate crisis. We have so many local health and environmental issues here in St. Louis. I'm urging you to do your job and to regulate this utility. This is not an appropriate plant for us in Ameren's territory. Thank you.
Give your comment. Jim Stites, I think you're next.
Did you mean Jenna Rideout?
He raised his hand. I assumed he wanted to comment. He raised his hand a while ago.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Mr. Stites, are you there?
Judge, if they're going by phone, you may have to remind them to push *6 to unmute.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, so you would need to push *6 if you are by your phone in order to unmute yourself. Well, Ms. Rideout, I think we can have you go and I'll circle back to Mr. Stites. Oops. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Jenna Rideout, JENNA RIDEOUT.
You may proceed with your comments.
Hi everybody, how are we doing? I hope we're doing wonderful on this very balmy 90-degree September day. I'm here as a lifelong resident of Missouri and a local ratepayer to Ameren. Basically, today I would just like to advocate on behalf of my family, my friends, and the children that I work with at a local youth clinic, many of whom have asthma, breathing difficulties, and other essentially lung issues that have been caused and exacerbated and just made life difficult through ground level ozone pollution. As pointed out in earlier testimonies, a lot of the compounds that get released from the combustion of methane can result in the formation of ground level ozone, which is wreaking havoc on the lungs of the young people that I work with. And it is getting exhausting and making my job more difficult. And yeah, it is really sad to see people have to avoid the outdoors because of air quality alerts. And I think someone said it earlier, it is kind of insulting for this to be proposed, especially in a year where St. Louis has had a record terrible year for air quality. Yeah, I personally have had to avoid the outdoors several times when we've reached like yellow and orange level alerts for air quality, and I'm just tired of that. It would be nice to go outside during the summer and the fall, and just not have to worry about long-term effects on my lungs. Again, there are the environmental impacts of this plant as well. I think natural gas for years has been touted as a bridge fuel, but it seems that we're no longer interested in crossing that bridge, but instead to become dependent on the bridge. Methane, fossil fuels, whatever it is, and none of them are clean, none of them are efficient, whether that's pricing, whether that's supply. It is just frustrating to see the continued efforts to try to build facilities like this while we're in the midst of a climate crisis. I would like to essentially encourage Ameren to invest in creative solutions to our power problems and our needs and new implementations of renewables. But also, I would at this time like to encourage the commission to vote no on this proposal. Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Jim Stites, or maybe Steets, and if you are by cell phone, is *6 to unmute yourself, or would you like to give a comment? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment today, to offer a comment? And again, it's *6 to unmute yourself if you are by phone. And there's a little mute button if you're on your computer or other device. Okay. Would any of the commissioners like to make any closing remarks?
Judges, Commissioner Holzman again, we just want to thank everybody for taking their time to testify. I know these issues can be emotional in some cases, and we all want what's best for our state. So we do appreciate you, every single one of you who took a minute to share your thoughts with us. Like I said, there have been no decisions made, but we do value your opinion, and we appreciate you very much. So thank you, and thank you, Judge, for running the meeting. Have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner Holzman. And I also want to thank all the participants today for their testimony. If you have any additional comments, or if you know of someone who could not be present but would like to comment, there is a consumer comments tab that can be reached via the commission's website at psc.mo.gov. On the right side of the homepage, there's a link titled Submit Comments. You would just click on that link to submit your comments and make sure that you reference the case number EA-2024-0237. This hearing is adjourned and we can go off the record. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Judge.